So, I have a confession to make. I've spent over $500,000 and 24 years trying to do what most people are trying to do, which is heal themselves. I've done therapy, coaches, seminars, pretty much every modality you can think of, including ayahuasca in the jungles of Colombia for about 10 years now, and also iboga in the deep jungles of Costa Rica. Very intense experience. And for a long time, I was just cycling. I just kept cycling. I'd get insights, I'd have these breakthroughs, I'd leave every seminar experience completely on fire, and then life would happen. And the old patterns would just, kind of show up like they never left. And if that's you right now, just want to tell you that you are not broken. You're just very likely working on one floor too high. Okay, so just stay with me here for a second. I'll tell you what I mean. So let me start with the most important thing that I can say is that if you've done the work, and I mean like you've really done the work, you are already a rare human being. And I want you to take a moment and just feel some healthy pride for yourself, because most people really never look inside, not even once. They live their whole lives reacting, blaming, staying on the surface, and clearly that's not you, or you'd probably not be watching a video like this. So you've sat in the hard conversations with yourself. I'm sure you've probably cried in the therapist's office, and you've journaled at 2 a.m., and you've invested real money in real time into understanding who you are and why you do what you do. And I totally honor that, because that takes serious courage. And here's what I also know to be true. At some point, and maybe that point is right now, you started to notice that there's a kind of ceiling that no matter how much work you do, you just cannot seem to break that ceiling, right? You could describe your wound perfectly. You know where it came from, you have the language for it, you had the insight, the theory, it's all wrapped up. And yet the patterns are still running. And that gap between what you know and what you feel is not at all a flaw in you. It's a flaw in the map that most people are using, and maybe you're using also, or have been given that map. So here's the piece that changed everything for me. Okay, because I realized that 95% of everything that we do, every decision, every reaction, every emotional response happens below our conscious awareness. 95. So when we do therapy, that's conscious. When we're journaling, conscious again. Affirmations, mindset coaching, NLP, even most breath work being sold right now works on the conscious mind. Now, I want to give a caveat. These are not bad tools. They're genuinely valuable, and I've used them all. But they're working at that 5%. And the patterns that you're trying to shift, that most of us are trying to shift, the ones that show up when you're triggered or exhausted, or someone you love says exactly the wrong thing, those live in that 95%. In our bodies, in the nervous system, in the tissue that's been holding the imprint of every unresolved experience since before you were old enough to understand what was actually happening to you. And so here's the uncomfortable truth. That took me years to really accept, that you cannot think your way into the body. You can only feel your way in. So in 2026, the science is starting to catch up with what body-based practitioners have been saying for decades, maybe longer. Somatic therapy, meaning soma, the body, working directly with the nervous system, is getting serious research attention right now, because it's reaching something that talk therapy was never designed to touch. So it's not the story about the experience, it's the physical imprint of the experience itself. When you go through stress, loss, fear, threat, your nervous system responds because guess what? It's supposed to. And the problem isn't the response, and that's what most people are working on. The problem is when the response never has an opportunity to get complete. When the threat passes, but the body doesn't receive the signal that it's safe to come all the way back down to its regulated state. And so it stays in this activated state, either slightly or chronically, or running in the background of everything, making every choice in our lives, from who we associate with, what kind of partner we have, how much money we can earn, what career we're inside of, and what risks we can take. And you've adapted to it so thoroughly at this point in time that it literally feels like you, and that most of us are identifying completely with this adaptation or conditioning. But I'm here to tell you that this is not you at all. This is just stored activation looking for resolution. And this might explain why we feel like we repeat our patterns over and over again, not in order to harm us, but in order to give us opportunities to get completion when we're working at the right level. So the people I work with are not people who gave up. Usually people who've done a lot of personal development work or mindset work, courses, videos, etc. These are the ones who've tried everything. They show up, who invest more time, more money, and have more willingness than most human beings ever will. And there's kind of a cruel irony of this work that the more cognitive or mindset work that you do, the better you get at understanding your patterns. And the more sophisticated the understanding becomes, the easier it is to actually mistake the map that you're getting for the territory. So insight can feel like healing because something shifts when you get it. But 3 months later, the feeling is back, the reaction is back. And it's not because you're weak or because you misunderstood something. It's because you were solving a body level problem with mind level tools. So when you go to the right address, when you work directly with what's stored in the nervous system, something totally different happens. And this is why most people miss it, because it doesn't feel like an insight. It feels more like letting go of something, like something that's been gripped for a very long time finally gets the message that it doesn't have to hold on anymore. And the irony is that you can't actually feel this until it's let go, because until that moment, you don't actually have contrast in your experience in order to find out that something has changed. And so what follows isn't just a feeling that's better in the moment. What follows is that the behavior changes, and it changes without effort, without willpower or management. So people always say some version of the same exact thing. This work is exactly what I've been looking for, and I had no idea that this is what I needed. And again, how could you if you've been stuck in a fight or flight response your whole life and you don't have contrast to understand what it is that your system was actually looking for? It's like trying to feel the love of your life before you've met that person. So you couldn't search for this consciously. You have to actually arrive at it by doing everything else first, right? So here's what I want you to take away from this video. You're certainly not behind, and you are not broken in any way. You are someone who's done an extraordinary amount of work at one level, and you may be ready for that next level. So what comes next lives below the thinking mind. And it's going to take some time for you to let go of the need to understand and theorize and philosophize your patterns in order to get into the body, learn to work the nervous system itself, and the place where words stop and something else begins. So if you're ready to go there, I'd love to see you on the path. Check out the link in the description down below. We have a bunch of amazing resources for you, and I'd love to point you in the direction of how to start doing the somatic work that we've done with over 12,000 people now, that actually makes a profound difference in the quality of their lives, and the quality of their relationships, and the quality of their well-being, inner peace, their finances. Literally everything in your life is touched by learning how to increase the well-being of your nervous system, of how to regulate it, and how to be in safe connection with the people in your lives. I'll see you on the path.